Hello everyone, I'm Aditya Raj and welcome back to the new episode of Inexperienced. Today's guest is a LinkedIn top voice, tech enthusiast, and a content creator. Aditya Vivek Thota is a very smart individual. Uh, we talked about a lot of stuff on this podcast. Some of them were how AI is actually changing the conditions of job and how businesses are operating in the world. Whether how you can be a LinkedIn top voice too. We also had some other theories, whether it was about human evolution or he also shared his music taste. Uh, Although I would like to apologize about one thing, as you move forward in the episode, there will be few points where you might face a audio problem. It was because of a technical issue that came as a result of a stupid mistake that I made, and I apologize for that mistake, and I'll try not to repeat it from the next episode. Uh, but I guess you will have some learnings and fun watching this episode. So the episode begins in three, two, one. Your background looks great. Like, what's that material called? Like, it's like my first instinct was like it's a bed sheet, but I think it's wrong. But what's that?
Okay, this background you're asking. I was
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about you're asking about my career background or something.
No, 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 no. Like on this
Okay,
background.
so this is actually a bed sheet. What you're
But
saying.
this is actually a bed sheet. Like, yeah. But no, it looks
Yeah,
good. The designs are great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When you were kind of setting up the whole audio, na, like, one thing just came to mind. What music are into, by the way?
I am actually an fan of Japanese anime and stuff like
No.
that. So I listen to a lot of
Oh.
music from Japan.
Hmm.
That's one thing, and
Yeah.
I also like some Indian stuff like Tamil, Hindi, all languages, and even some artists from West like Taylor Swift.
Oh, really?
Taylor Swift, I used to hear a lot when I was growing up, like when I was in my teens.
In my teens,
After
yeah.
that, nowadays, every now and then I just go back for that nostalgia.
You go back to nostalgia. Get it. So, but you're not listening to Taylor Swift anymore? It's just like for the nostalgia or maybe क्या अभी भी चल रहा है?
Not very regular. Like nowadays, I listen to more of Japanese music than any other. But
Any-
once in a while, when a new song comes up or something, I try to check
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So anime, what's your like go to? Like, if you have to recommend it to people, what are the few like you always recommend?
Okay, so one very famous anime is Attack on Titan.
Huh.
Do you follow anime, by the way?
I am not the biggest fan, but I follow the big ones like Attack on Titan, Death Note. I've seen all of them. Yeah.
Okay. So Attack on Titan is one very big anime. Then there are a few classics like Steins Gate, Full Metal
Okay.
Alchemist.
I have seen that. Yeah.
So there are a few classics like that. But I am like a seasonal follower. Like I follow all the new shows and a lot of things. And even movies of Makoto Shinkai. Like you would have heard of Your Name or Weathering
Your
with
name,
You.
yeah, I have seen your name. Actually, I've seen the your
Okay.
name. Sure.
So those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Got it. Got it. So, I think last year one series came out. It was named Spy X Family.
Yeah, I've seen that.
How did you feel about it? Like, how
Yeah,
did you
it
like?
was like it was good.
Yeah.
For me, it was like a one-time watch. I felt,
One
but it
time
was
watch.
good. Like since I watch a lot of series,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I felt.
Yes, I think Demon Slayer is also coming out with new season, I guess.
Yeah, I follow Demon Slayer as well.
Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is,
So
I
yeah,
liked it. The whole concept and
yeah.
story. I
So
enjoyed
the graphics were pretty high. Like the
it.
production quality was pretty
Very
high.
high, very high. Like as compared to the a lot of anime, they really spend on the like the whole animation.
Animation and fights and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, like you said that you've been making content LinkedIn for a while now, from almost your college, right? So, and I saw that the first time I like kind of sent you a connection request. I guess it was in 2021 or 2022. I don't properly remember. So that was the first time I got to know about something called LinkedIn Top Boy.
Okay.
Before that, I didn't had the proper understanding of it. And then when I saw it on your profile, I was like, okay, I need to check it. And then I kind of went through it and understood. But I still have some questions regarding it. First of all, like is LinkedIn top voice is given to someone who is making content for a while now, or it could be like you have to make content like for 4 years, or it needs to be good as engagement wise, or the content has
Uh,
to be good.
okay.
The metrics,
So
I
the
mean.
LinkedIn, yeah. So the LinkedIn top voice is a curated list that the LinkedIn editors and their data team does some analysis, and they put it out.
Hmm.
So every year it kind of keeps changing, like what the criteria they use, and what are the different categories under which they give top voice. So I was LinkedIn top voice in 2020. So that time they curated a list for top 20 voices for India. If you
Okay.
see in the recent times, they have diversified, and they are giving top voice under different topics, like
Categories,
top
yeah, yeah.
voice in technology, top voice in finance or education, things like that. So it is like, I think anyone can get into the top voice list as long as they are consistent in that particular year. So it's an yearly thing. So they take the data for the last 11 months or 12 months, and they see consistency, they see statistics, data, whatever they are getting, as well as they see the quality of it. Like they are human validators who go through your content and check the quality, because anyone can actually clickbait or do something and just get the stats, right? So they
Yeah, yeah.
just don't go by completely by statistics. They also check the quality.
So quality isn't like, I assume the quality would be a mixture of your experience, the content, and the maybe, and also a mixture of maybe the research you do, the new things
Yeah,
that you find out, and you kind of mix all of those to produce a content piece. So is
yeah,
that
yeah,
in that regard the kind of evaluate the quality of the content?
yeah, pretty much. Uh, I think you covered all the aspects of what quality can look like.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, and how important is the engagement in that?
Engagement is important. Like you have to be one of the top creators in terms of engagement. Only then they will go and check out your content, like, and verify its quality. So uh,
Okay.
you have to have a good network. A good network in the sense you did not have like millions of people following you or anything. Like a lot of people, even with some 20,000 followers, 10,000 followers, have been LinkedIn top voice. So you just have to have a decent enough network, and like you should have some statistics. Like you should be in the top 1 or 2% of the engagement that people get on the platform. From there they will filter out further based on quality.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So, like someone like me who stands between 2,500 to 3,000 and
Hmm.
wants to, like someone any like one to maybe they're starting out and they want to kind of be there like as a top voice. So what do you do right? What do they do right to get in there?
Okay, so I think the number one thing is consistency. Like if you consistently create content on LinkedIn, you will definitely get the engagement. You will also start building an audience for yourself. Like even if someone is starting out, they just have 2,000 followers, it does not mean that they cannot create a viral post that probably reaches 1 million people. Like that's very much possible. LinkedIn is very friendly in terms of organic reach, and even without any following, anyone can create a viral post. So it takes is one viral post, and you just get your community started. So I think consistency is important. Like when you are posting regularly, the probability that one of your posts will go viral also increases. So naturally, you start building more audience, and you also gain more experience to create better content. So
Got it.
that's what I think if I was starting out right now, that's what I'll focus on.
So like consistency has to be like every day or maybe 3 4 times a week. Because
So
you've been sorry to interrupt, but you've been kind of studying the whole algorithm of LinkedIn for a while now. Like, it's not that new to
hmm,
you. And there have been went on stages like phases where it was once, if I'm not mistaken, it was really pushing videos. Then it
hmm,
went back to text, and now it's again pushing photos and to extend videos, right? Like even the
yeah,
photo irrelevancy to the post kind of picking up, right?
yeah.
So like so I have a follow-up question to this, but like how do you kind of think about consistency?
Okay. So the LinkedIn algorithm keeps changing. When I was like the top voice, that particular year I was the top voice, the emphasis was given on text based content. Back then, you did not have all these carousels, polls, and all that. Those features itself are not there on the platform. So text was given most importance. They were pushing for videos, but back then it did not take off as much as these
No.
days.
Yeah.
So what I feel is like the LinkedIn algorithm keeps changing. Like you have
Yeah.
two ways you can think about it. Like what kind of content you want to create and what kind of content LinkedIn wants. Like
Yeah.
it's basically like a choice, like the red pill or the blue pill, like from the
Yeah.
Matrix.
Yeah. For the Matrix. Yeah.
So when you are creating content for the algorithm, you become a like slave to the algorithm. That's what I feel. It's like you have to keep changing yourself, you have to keep iterating just to satisfy the algorithm, and the fun of creating content might go away from that, like if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. Good
trying to do
point.
that for long. On the other hand, what I personally do and also recommend people is just find out what kind of content you really like creating. uh, so I like text based content. Like I like writing and putting down my thoughts, so I
Yeah. I've
create most
noticed
of my
that.
content in the form of a text.
Yeah.
And that's it, it's enjoyable to me, so that's one of the reason why I'm able to be consistent. Like if I try to go with the algorithm and try to keep changing and pushing out what the algorithm wants, I feel the burnout will be much quicker, and
Yeah.
that will backfire, and eventually you may not be consistent.
Yeah.
So
Eventually. Yeah.
so how I look at consistency is like pick out the format or kind of topics that you are really passionate about and go all in with that, and create a niche for yourself within those contexts. You need not
Mm.
worry about what others are doing or what the algorithm wants. There will always be some audience who are wanting exactly what you create, and
Mm.
those kind of audience also are more loyal. So I think
Usually. Yeah.
even though growth you may not get like 10,000 followers in a week or something, but
Mm.
you will grow more sustainably. That's what I feel.
Yeah. You will stay in the business for long.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But like, but my follow-up question was like, you would have kind of noticed some patterns of the algorithm. Like, for example,
Yeah.
Instagram is slowly making it more into some extent. It's still like user oriented, but to some extent they're trying to build it in a creative, like for the creators too. Like the people are who are building who are influencers, उनके लिए भी it making a bit more convenient. So this is what I'm noticing, that they're trying to increase basic. एक तो main point है कि the audience spends more time on Instagram. That is
Hmm.
like वो तो it's we can all agree on. Second point is that they're trying to make the content, push more content, but the whole point is that they can run ads between them, right? To some extent, they want to make better content, so they can more run more ads. So, what's that pattern of algorithm for LinkedIn? Is there anything? Have you noticed?
Okay. LinkedIn has a very diversified business model compared to Instagram. Like I
Through
think
Instagram?
Instagram, the majority comes from ad revenue.
I guess, yeah.
So on LinkedIn, you have this LinkedIn courses are there, and LinkedIn Premium subscription is there.
Yeah.
So and there is something called Sales Navigator. Like in LinkedIn Premium, they have a different features for
I
businesses,
have
for
used that,
marketing
yeah.
people, and all that.
Mhm.
So they make revenue from all those different channels apart from ads. So I don't see LinkedIn heavily focusing on ads. They
Mhm.
are more focusing on like community. Like that's what I feel, like networking and professional networking and community. So if you see some of the recent uh, features they have added, is like they have added an events tab on LinkedIn, like where people can create an event and try to engage with the community. They also added live the like something like Clubhouse. They added those stuff. So what they are trying to look for is they are trying to look for people to network at a professional level. That's what I am seeing. And
Mhm.
to maximize that, what kind of features they can introduce, that's the algorithm I think they are going with. And yeah, I think that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
So it's not ad based. They definitely want people to spend more time on LinkedIn. For example, links. If you share an article link directly, the chances that it will get more reach is less, because when the person clicks on the link, they go out of LinkedIn to some other external website.
Yeah. But if it's in the
So those
comment,
kind of,
but they you put in the
yeah, they
comment,
put
right?
link in the comment.
Yeah.
So those kind of things are there. They want people to be on the platform, but ads is not the only focus. Like, they are engaging in a lot of different ways.
Like when you, I also got some, I remember something, like when you talked about the whole link point. Instagram, mein when you put on a story and put on a link that opens in necessarily in Chrome, and that's the whole idea of Instagram, that they don't want people to go out of their app, so they deliberately, sorry, they like intentionally make the whole experience bad.
Hmm.
When you put on a YouTube link and you open that link, it opens in youtube.com as an app, as compared to app,
Hmm.
right? So the whole experience becomes bad. So people come back
Yeah.
to Instagram again. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. But with LinkedIn, and I've been following your content for a while now, and you put a lot of things about whether it's memes about technology or as in normally as a content. Uh, First of all, my point is that there are so many AI tools now, right?
Hmm.
And just first of all, like a straight question, does that scare you by any means?
No, like, it actually makes me very happy and productive, like, to be honest. So I don't feel scared. I use AI in a lot of my workflows at, like, whenever I need any help with anything. So a lot of tools I have explored.
Even
So I
I'm
feel
integrating, yeah.
comfortable, and I think people, we can coexist with AI. That's what I feel.
So, okay, cool. But this is my point, okay? When ek to, I don't understand why content creators and influencers, especially on Twitter, are trying to make people feared of AI. First of all,
Hmm.
like if you put fear in people, they're gonna be resistance to the whole technology thing, and they're not gonna learn anything. So I don't know, embrace the opportunity and tell them to you can adapt and be better. Ek to, I don't
Yeah.
get why people are not doing that.
So yeah. So one thing I feel is, there are two types of people here. People who are probably not from a technology background, who may not understand how exactly these AI models are working, and they may underestimate the progress that's happening right now. So for those people, like, there are a lot of people even in my circles who have never even used chat gpt even till now, and they think it's kind of like, people are overhyping it. That's what people feel like. So whenever a new technology comes up, there will be a set of people who think it's overhyped. They may not even try it properly or know how it works, but they may think it's overhyped and ignore it. So for these people, it's important to, uh, I think those are the target audience that creators want to create fear about, because they are ignoring the disruption that's happening. So what I feel is, like, sometimes when you kind of create a very scary picture of what's going to happen, those people will probably nudge to check out something. That's one thing. So the second thing is, like, on social media, fear gets more likes than positive stuff. So
Well, that's the whole point of news these days, right?
yeah, so
Yeah,
people use fear to get attention. That's there.
yeah,
But I have seen people who are educating also, like, how people can use AI to get ahead of the curve.
yeah.
That they are fewer in number, fear catches more eyes.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So, by the way, do you follow Varun Meyer?
Yeah, I follow him a lot.
Yeah, same. Varun Meyer talks about a lot of
Yeah,
creative, that AI will replace a lot of creative jobs, right?
yeah.
And like every time I hear that, I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I have a question for that. Like the whole point of, and let me like kind of take a minute to phrase this question properly before you answer. Is that like, suppose the creative thing is to do a write a song, cool?
Hmm.
And I tell you that okay, pick a poem from 12th standard, CBSE, ISC, pick up whatever you want,
Hmm.
and an English poem, and write it in a way Drake would. Cool.
Hmm.
So my point is that if ChatGPT is able to do it, is that really creativity, or maybe we're just the tool kind of processing the whole data. For example, the alphabets are 26. There's only 26 alphabets, right? And if I give ChatGPT की info data to every poem that has ever been written, every Drake song that has ever been written, like from the start to the end. And I asked them to kind of use that information to interpret and create something new. Just follow the pattern. Is that really creativity or maybe just pattern recognition? Because
So
hmm,
uh, I think first we need to understand what is creativity from a human context, because most of the things that humans create are also a remixing of patterns we see in our life. Like, you cannot write a poem if you have never seen a poem before. uh, it's very difficult.
right?
That's a very difficult thing to do. Like, and even if you can, even if you are someone who, let's say, you have never seen poetry, you have never seen language written in such format,
Mhm.
even if you write something that looks like a poem, you probably would have got inspiration from nature. You would have seen something in the nature around you,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you would have made something. Probably the first poets of humankind would have done something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have seen some birds making sounds, and maybe they found a pattern there and probably gave words to it, something like that.
Mhm.
So when I was telling, the probably the first poets of humankind, they would have taken inspiration from nature, found some patterns and converted it to language, structured it in language.
Mhm.
So for humans, creativity is also like observing things around them and then remixing all the patterns that we get.
Yeah.
Basically, AI is also doing the same thing.
It's basically the same thing, yeah.
Yeah. So can we call that creativity? If we cannot call it creativity, even humans are not creative. That's what I will come. That's the conclusion I come to it. Like,
Ah. So like my point is like if we are just doing a basic pattern recognition, so why we are calling it as creativity? And that's my whole point. Like why
so
huh.
yeah. So the definition of creativity is the problem here. Like, if
Is it
you define
hmm.
creativity as a way to correlate two different or
Yeah.
unrelated patterns, like
Yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
people put, for example, take example of the cred advertisements, you would have seen
Mhm.
they take cricketers and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
celebrities and put them in a completely new situation.
New situations.
Like, let's say that Rahul Dravid ad, like
Yeah.
he's shown to have anger issues in
Basically,
the
they are
ad.
trying to create cognitive dissonance for the audience. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so people call it creative.
Hmm.
But in reality, what they are doing is they are taking two concepts. You
Hmm.
can consider those two concepts as two patterns,
Hmm.
and they are remixing both of them together to create something that looks new.
Hmm.
But
Makes sense.
inherently, it's not new. You can always divide the thing they created and attribute it to what already exists. Like, Rahul Dravid already exists, anger already exists, Bangalore traffic already exists. They are just taking those things and mixing them. And AI is also kind of doing similar things. Like,
Yeah.
based on the prompt you give, it's mixing things up and it's coming up with something that looks new.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
that
But
if
but don't
yeah
you think the whole point of creativity is that you can't define it?
yeah I think that's one way to look at it. Like,
Okay.
we probably
Okay.
can't define creativity. Like,
Huh.
it goes human creativity, if we discuss more, it goes more into the philosophical side. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
I'm open
kind
to
of
it.
consciousness. It correlates very closely with consciousness.
Consciousness.
Like,
Huh. And we don't know where consciousness comes from. The closest thing that we have is the ape theory, if you heard of it.
yeah.
Oh. So like you know the theory, right?
Can you come again? Link theory.
No, ape theory. The ape theory.
No, like, can you explain, like,
Huh.
what exactly it is?
Like I hope I'm not messing up the details, but the whole idea is that when we used to be monkeys and we used to live on the trees basically, right? What used to happen is that we used to come down on the ground for food and we used to found mushrooms under the cow's dung and the animals' dungs, right? And we used to pick that mushroom, the mushrooms that are found in Amazons, the psychedelics, and we used to eat them, and that's how we develop consciousness. Because mushroom is something is that America is still trying to kind of get it. The whole they're using it more for the medical purposes, but they're trying to understand psychedelics as an thing, like what's the people go through
Okay.
like crazy experiences when they try out psychedelics. I haven't tried it, but I've read about it and I've seen videos about it. So that's the whole theory, that we used mushrooms that used to kind of belong to some extent to Amazon, that comes अभी तो वहीं के हैं, mainly psychedelics. So
Hmm.
we consume psychedelics and that's how we develop consciousness. That's one theory, a hypothesis to be put it fairly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is something I'm hearing for the first time
First
here.
time, yeah.
So yeah, actually, for the first time, I'm hearing this theory.
Hmm.
So it looks plausible, but I don't think we can test it now. Like
That's the
we do
whole
not have
point.
the
We don't have the evidence. It's just an
yeah
hypothesis.
yeah.
That's the whole point. Yeah. But when I heard it, I was like, acha, acha. Okay, there is something new. Because like even the whole neuroscientist is also kind of trying to understand the whole point of consciousness, right? It's something that because we didn't have it and suddenly we did at some point, right? Because
Yeah.
the closest animals that we have, I think chimpanzees is the closest, if I'm not mistaken, and they understand pattern recognition. They can divide color and they can learn things,
Yeah.
but they're not. But they're still very far away. The way we can process things. One thing that humans got right is what that we could understand, like not imagination, but like to some extent, I think thought. Like if you think of doing something in your head, suppose that I eat an ice cream, you can pull out thought from your head and keep it in your hand, and you can think around it. Okay, there's one thought that you want to eat ice cream, and then you can think the thought that okay, I'll eat ice cream. This will be the flavor. Maybe I can do this thing. Maybe I'll get sick. Anything, and then you can think of this. What will happen if you get sick? So you can think about the thought and followed by another thought, which the I guess the animals don't have. And that's where human got it right. And it didn't used to happen from the start. It suddenly it did. Right?
Mm.
Mm. Some people say,
I think yeah. So I think it looks like a sudden appearance, but if you look at the time scale of life on Earth, it's still like 100,000 years.
100,000 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But looking back, it looks like a very small time frame. But I still think that that was a lot of time, like 100,000 years or even millions of
100,000 years
years.
is a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
it,
is,
it might be a very slow process. Like it's very difficult to understand the slowness of human evolution. Like
yeah.
since we live in a very small time frame, like a very
Yeah.
tiny frame. Uh, yeah.
And, and also the speed of the whole revolution has kind of picked up some pace since 1800s, right?
Yeah.
When the industrial revolution came into picture, things kind of did change drastically. Right.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So when I kind of this is stuff that I read or watch, so it's kind of my area of exploration. So I like this
Okay.
kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I think also I saw that you work in visa
Yeah.
and you've been working how many years I saw I forgot.
So I've been working with Visa for about 3.5 years now. And
Okay.
yep.
Got it. Just hold on a second. Okay. So yeah, you can say like my point being like sometimes you're getting the answer you're getting tense. I understand some basics of body language. Sometimes I feel
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I might be getting it wrong, but yeah, so chill. I know it's a first experience, but I also and like it's not necessarily new, but the first guest that I had, he was also kind of it was new for him, so he kind of he was fumbling or maybe he was not trying to get it. So I have seen that. So, shit. I just wanted to feel comfortable. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
I feel okay. Yeah.
I feel okay, cool. So when you're working in Visa and Visa, I consider is a big company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that working in a big company? Is it like and tell me which is more common is to get into a good college and then into a big company, or maybe start from a small company and they build up and then go to a big company.
Okay.
Which is more common?
So I think these these things are changing very rapidly in the industry right now. Like 5 years ago, it was very different. Now it's very different. So
Okay.
I'll speak from the point of what's happening right now. So right now, if you see most of the hiring in technology based companies, like especially in tech hiring, things are getting democratized. Like there are many open hackathons happening through which hiring is happening. Lot of open hiring is happening, like where they don't see which college you are coming from or what your background is. Like we call these FANG companies. You would have heard of this term called FANG, right? So all these top companies have started hiring more democratical, more open-ended hiring. So
Okay.
I feel like right now, if you have the right skill set and portfolio with you, you can start from anywhere, like from a big company or from a small company, and the it probably boils down to your personal choice more than a trend. Like if you think you want a small company, you can start from a small company. If you want a big company, you can directly try for a big company. But if you look in terms of statistics, the number of opportunities, number of openings in smaller like not smaller companies, number of openings in, let's say, less reputed companies. Like I still think they're reputed companies, but in the kind of social view, like for example, let's say if we talk about TCS or Infosys, people will probably not put them at the same level as Google or Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the difference here is, like Google, if Google hires say 500 people, Infosys is hiring 50,000 people. That's the difference. In a year, if Google hires like 500 or 1,000 people, Infosys, the range is like 50,000, 80,000, those kind of numbers. So more opportunities are there with those kind of companies. So naturally, more people are there. That's the difference. But if someone wants to get into these bigger companies, it is very much possible, irrespective of where they come from.
So, Asha, one thing, like when you mentioned like Infosys hire 50,000 people and even Google hires 500 people. And when they get
These
this
are
job,
just to interrupt. These are just an estimated numbers.
okay,
Like I've
not
come
the
across,
facts, of
not
course.
accurate.
Yeah, yeah. Like anyone is listening, watching, they're not facts. They're just like an overall idea. And even I'm using as a like get the out get your point. My thing is like suppose that Infosys okay not hires 50,000 people. Suppose hires 1,000 people in the month from April to October, for example. Just randomly picking the month. Cool.
Okay.
My point is that people go through the interview process
Hmm.
and everything. But my question is like when there are so many people working, how do you like have you ever like kind of led a team in a corporate or maybe a startup if you're working?
Uh, can you come again?
I was saying that have you ever kind of led a team in a corporate uh,
Okay.
in say maybe in a
So
startup?
I have led teams at college level, and
Mm.
some when I was at college, I used to lead a lot of teams, and I was
Okay.
also working part time at a magazine, an online magazine.
Okay.
So there I led a team, but not in like not after
Corporate.
college days. I was mostly an individual contributor.
Understood. Okay, so my question was like when you're hiring like a company has 1,000 people and you share your and do share your experience on that, like how do you make sure that when the people get hired they stay competent?
So a lot of companies have these training programs and upskilling
Mm.
programs. So they kind of try to provide those opportunities to employees to upskill and stay competent. So that's what most companies are doing right now.
Okay, okay.
And I think it also boils down to your immediate managers, how they are, the kind of culture they are trying to bring in into the team.
Mm.
So that
So my point is what they do particularly, like I want you to kind of elaborate on that if you can.
So many corporates have these programs. Like for example, some corporates have tie-ups with institutions to have a hybrid master's program, and sometimes they give free access to platforms like Udemy to the employees, and they just Udemy and plural site, things like that. So and from the management, they can nudge employees to take courses and kind of upskill, or there will be some internal hackathons they conduct, so that people try to build something new and learn something. So all these small things are there that a lot of people do, and that's one way they try to keep the talent pool competent.
Got it. Got it. Like one of the things that are very direct, but I found it interesting. Do you follow Ankur Warikoo?
Yeah, I do follow Ankur Warikoo.
Ankur Warikoo. So okay, In just very good thing about his team management is that when he kind of evaluates the value of work, that is directly proportional to how much you gotta make it. Because if you make good content, the company grows, and the company grows, you get more money. So that is one way of doing it. Very direct, very simple. So when I heard it, because it's also he don't have like 1,000 people. He has like under 50, I guess, right? So it's I understand it would be to some extent little easier to kind of lead them as compared to like leading a 50 or 20 or maybe I don't know in corporate level if they have 100 members team. Yes, like they have small rights to kind of easy to.
So there are teams of all sizes in corporate, like
Okay.
depending on the context and what kind of project people are working on.
Okay.
You can find teams of many different sizes. Generally, the larger teams will probably have more managers to manage the people. That's one thing. And coming back to Ankur Wariko, I just want to add, like, do you follow Ali Abdal?
I have seen some of his content, but not maybe not as closely as you do. Yeah.
Okay, so both Ankur Wariko and Ali, they have a similar kind of YouTube content, like motivational content,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Kind
both
of.
of them are really good at soft skills. I think that's why they really click. Like they're really good at communication skills, soft skills, and things like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and they both of them have a small team. Both of them have very similar structure. So one interesting thing Ali does is I don't know if that's his preferred name. I don't know how he calls himself, but yeah.
Okay.
So Ali Abdal, one thing he does is he for his team to stay competent, he hires personal coaches. Like if there's
Okay.
any particular skill that he wants his team to be really good at, he gets a subject matter expert who is also like a personal coach to give one-on-one training to his team. It's like just one-on-one training, just that one person. They get a personal coach, and even he gets personal coaches for himself. And uh, that's something new. That's something new I noticed. Like I haven't seen many people do this, like
Doing that,
personal
yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
But that's also one way to keep the employees competent.
I have seen mainly with like founders do that, like on a personal level, but with the team is something I am also hearing for the first time. So yeah, that is interesting for sure. Uh, yeah. Like do you also follow Noel by any chance?
Naval Ravikant.
Yeah, Noel I can't.
I don't follow, but once in a while I get his content on the feed.
Mainly tweet, I guess.
Tweet or something, like some screenshot or something like that.
Screenshot. Yeah.
But I don't keenly follow.
Keenly follow. Yeah. Also, like with you mentioned communication, like I follow Uncle Wariko and his communications are great, but just to in some sense giving you a suggestion or maybe like maybe sharing my preferences. Like the people I look up to for communication are one Jordan Peterson. Have you heard that guy?
Yeah, I have.
Second
But
is
I
Joe.
haven't seen a lot of content of his. But yeah, I have.
Like he do makes in some sense heavy content. So and I like that kind of content. So I've seen a lot of people kind of know them but not explore a lot of his content because he gets a lot into biology and then psychology. So जिनको नहीं पसंद होता कि they don't get into that. Second one is Joe Rogan. Have you heard of
Yeah,
him?
I have. I see him in news, like to make some controversy.
Oh, like
But I
what?
haven't really checked out his podcast.
I'm at that phase of my life where like the moment I heard the word controversy in my head is like Joe Rogan. So I have consumed a lot of his content. And third is like a guy called Prakhar Ki Parvachan. You should check out his content. And this is also Prakhar Ki Parvachan. His full name is Prakhar Gupta. You should check out his content.
Okay.
He's an Indian creator. Yeah. Sorry, sometimes I have to adjust my AC and fan. So I hope you
Yeah,
don't
it's
mind.
okay.
Cool. So yeah, so it's like I kind of they do a good job at communication. So I also kind of suggest it to people. Or any other big, yeah, maybe any content creator you follow in India, like as in closely
India,
follow.
I usually watch Akshat Srivastava, the
Okay.
finance creator.
Hmm.
Finance with Sharon. I like his approach. Then there are some creators like I randomly follow, like just one or two videos I may see, like when they come on my feed. And Varun Maya I follow, AVTV I follow. That's good.
AVTV, huh? AVTV, they're doing good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like their content.
So those kind of things I follow. Other creators, like mostly like one or two videos based on the topic that I like. If it comes in my feed, I'll just see, but not like watching every single video of them.
Yeah. Like it's also like we don't end up having so much time to kind of
Yeah.
which watch their content anymore. So big issue though. Yeah. Cool, cool. So I like as in for a first experience, how is it going so far?
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. So you have more questions, I assume. Like maybe you can
No,
ask more
no,
deeper questions, or
no, like mine is like I have few questions kind of prepared. They're not like okay, I'll ask this again and again. It's just I start with one question and where the
okay.
conversation moves on and if I have
Yeah.
something I just goes on.
Yeah.
It's not
So
necessarily structured, yeah.
so far what I felt was like you asked questions, but they were kind of light questions.
Mhm.
I think you can ask more technical or more deep questions, anything you want. Like you are from a non-tech background, right? So
Yeah, I'm not of a non-tech platform, so sometimes I just to some extent I take it back from technical questions because I end up saying something stupid. So that is
yeah.
something I
So
so
what you can so you are from a non-tech background, and probably
Mhm.
your immediate audience also will be not from technology
Not
background.
necessarily, not
So
necessarily, but go on.
okay. So if you want, you can ask questions about something from your perspective, as someone who has not been directly in tech industry. You will be seeing a lot of news and things.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what's really happening from an insider point of view, like I'll have some insider point of view from what's really happening in tech.
Yeah.
So if you want to ask questions like that, you can ask.
Like I like just you mentioned, I had a question. Like how it how fast is it really changing the whole industry? Like the AI thing. I just part of me goes like कि maybe उतना fast है जितने लोग बोल रहे हैं. Part of me is like it is fast, but it is not as fast as like people are exaggerating. So what is the
Okay.
case honestly?
So right now, what I feel is it is fast.
Hmm.
It's like uh, it's going to get even faster. Like it is fast.
Okay.
It's not very fast, but it's getting fast very quickly.
Hmm.
For example, GPT-4, the
Hmm.
model that OpenAI released in like I think in Jan and or sometime. I don't remember the exact date.
I think a little
They
later than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they actually completed the training and development and all of it 6 months before the launch. So if you look at the industry, I think we can take that as a very good example. Like, so whatever we are seeing right now is probably something completed 6 months ago, 6 months or 1 year ago.
Okay. Okay.
So what's happening right now is like that 6 months or 1 year is actually very fast in software, especially in software. When we are launching any new platform or product, it's probably an years of effort, like 1-2 years effort. Uh, Being able to do that 1, 2, or even 3 years effort in 6 months, that's pretty fast from tech point of view. And now people are using AI tools that they created to create new things even faster. For example, ChatGPT can, if you're using ChatGPT to write software or debug issues and things like that, you probably do things like 2 or 3 times faster than without it. I have personally experienced, like when I was trying to build some personal projects, I used ChatGPT, and I was personally able to see that I am able to do things even faster. So right now, people are using all these AI tools that they created like 6 months ago, and they are able to create new things even more fast than so far. So this is what I feel a lot of people are fearing, like the exponential curve that we are seeing. We are at the start of an exponential curve, and when that happens, that's when the real impact we will feel. Like right now, we are not feeling too much impact, but we are at the tipping point where things can get really fast, really quickly to process.
Okay. So like people are feared of not able to adapt.
Yeah.
That's what they're fearing.
So it's like suddenly it might happen. Like let's say in one particular week, some OpenAI, Microsoft, Google come up with some new announcements, and it suddenly is more than what people expected, and that will be huge. Like it can have huge impact in how people work and kind of work people do.
Okay, got it. Like yesterday, I was watching a reel on Instagram, and like it was there was an entrepreneur. I forgot his name. Sorry, but like he was talking about the whole AI scene, and he said that and he used the example of a refrigerator. He said that the person who made a refrigerator didn't make as much money as the Coca-Cola company. And that is what's happening with AI. The AI tools will make some money, but the people who will use AI to make a product will make more money. So, what do you think of
So
this? Do you agree?
yeah, so that it depends on context. Like right now, if you see OpenAI, it is
Hmm.
trying to position itself as a foundation model. So we call this we call models like GPT-4 as foundation models.
Oh,
What they do is basically they act as like a very large foundation on top of which other companies can build their products or fine tune it to create custom solutions.
got it.
So what OpenAI is trying to do is they're trying to build a platform for themselves where
Hmm.
every single company that uses any kind of AI technology uses their platform. So now Microsoft is using, like Microsoft has partnered with OpenAI, and they are building products like GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot is one example of a product that helps developers code faster
Okay.
uh, using the same GPT models that OpenAI has.
Okay.
Similarly, many other companies are coming up which they are building on top of OpenAI. So when those companies make money, a part
Hmm.
of the revenue goes to paying OpenAI for their platform.
Okay.
So it's think of it like the app store. Like let's say Apple made the app store, but the people who make most money are the people who build the apps and make those viral applications. But when they go
Okay.
viral, Apple takes its cut. Like right now, I think it's 30% cut. So
It's 30%.
in digital world, if you compare it like that, it's like the person who made refrigerator takes a cut for every Coca-Cola that is stored in the refrigerator.
Hmm.
So that way, the the people who made refrigerator also make money. The thing here is they actually make
Okay.
more money than the Coca-Cola company in this case, because it's not just Coca-Cola, it's all other companies are putting their products inside the same refrigerator.
Hmm.
So the refrigerator will take cut from every single person who stores the product in the refrigerator. So he makes more money than individual companies.
But what if the refrigerator is made specifically for Coca-Cola? Then it only makes
No,
money from Coca-Cola.
yeah. So it's not like the AI platforms that we are seeing right now. If you compare in that context, they are
Hmm.
made for everyone. That's why they are
Okay.
called as foundation models. So
They're called foundation models.
anyone can use it, and whoever succeeds in making money by using them, OpenAI also gets a cut, or whichever company builds the largest platform, they get a cut.
Okay. So, how do you see do you think no, okay, let me phrase it correctly. What will be the shifts in business as far as AI is concerned? What do you think? Do you follow
One
like a business?
immediate Yeah, so
Hmm.
one immediate change is productivity. Like whatever took you probably 10 hours to do before, now
Hmm.
will probably take 1 or 2 hours.
Okay.
So you will still, humans will be there, they'll be
Huh.
doing their work, but the productivity will increase by a huge margin. Like I'm already seeing it. Like uh, I use AI for creating content, so that's something I openly tell people. Like I use it to brainstorm ideas, get the first draft, try to come up with new combinations and things like that. It used to take a lot of time before. Like I've been creating content for a long time, and
Yeah.
some kind of content that probably takes 6 to 7 hours. Now I can do it in 1 hour. Like I can get the entire thing done in like within 1 hour. So this will happen to all industries. Like literally any industry you pick, every industry has some kind of data that is created.
Hmm.
So creating the data becomes much faster with AI,
Hmm.
and huge productivity boost across industries.
Okay.
So when this happens, the number of people you need to do some work decreases. Like if there's a large project, let's say it requires 100 man hours, and you hire 10 people for that, now you probably need to hire just one person. So
Okay, that's a
and
big
that
number.
person will do it in 10 hours. So That's what I think is going to happen in the near future. People get more productive. Because of that, number of people the businesses need will be lesser. So that way, number of jobs will decrease. But what I also feel is uh, the number of projects you take up increases. It's like this. Take an example. Let's say right now a company is doing one project and they hire 10 people. Now, with when AI comes into picture, the company needs only one person to do that project.
Okay.
But what they are going to do is they are going to do 10 projects. So you still need 10 people. You got it.
I got it.
So
Yeah.
I think that's how businesses will evolve. When businesses can do more, they'll definitely go and do more. So
When they can, yeah, of course. But I have a question is that, see, and there's two resources that you have, either it's time or it's money, right? And when you have money, you have time also, but when you don't have the money, you only have time, right? So people who are in phase, like usually people who are just starting out, they have more time than they do have money, right? So
yeah.
don't you think because AI is gonna dramatically decrease the numbers of the hours, like number of hours it'll take. So maybe don't you think business people will prefer to work with people who might be having more experience and get
Yeah.
that done? Because the whole point is that if you have, you will it, no, it will take less hours, so you have more margin to do errors also. That key, like suppose it used to take 10 hours, now it only is taking 2 hours. But even if I am doing a mistake, I'll still get the thing done in 2 hours. So the whole point of experimentation and the margin of making an error will grow high. But don't you think people who are just starting out and the only thing they have money, like especially if they're building a business and it's hard for them to get so many AI tools or to hire people. So what do you think how they're gonna tackle that problem?
Okay. So one thing here is like AI tools are actually much cheaper
Then
than
hiring a
what.
human, yeah.
Yeah, than hiring a human. That's one thing. Like GPT-4 is $20 a month. So that's very cheap by any standard. That's very cheap for the kind of
Thing that they're
productivity
providing,
boost
yeah.
it
Yeah.
gives.
Yeah.
So, and there are many other tools. Like for example, there are tools for text to image creation, like DALI or Stable Diffusion.
Yeah.
There are tools like that. So they are also very cheap. Actually, Stable Diffusion, it's a text to image model. It's actually open source. So
Okay.
you can, anyone who understands how to use it, they can download it into their own system and use it for free.
Okay.
And this is going to increase further. Like more and more open source models come up, like which are completely free and just put down on the internet. Anyone can come and use them. So costs are going to come down very fast. Like that's what I feel. And
Okay.
so anyone who is just starting out now, I think they don't require a lot of capital to get into this, get to start
Okay.
using
Your
AI
video
tools
is
for
getting
themselves.
paused. Like, okay. Your video is getting paused.
Okay, let me just. So the people who are starting out just now, they can like it doesn't cost a lot to them to start using AI tools. It's like relatively very cheap. So
Okay.
they can start exploring on how they can use all these tools, and they can also even explore like those open source free tools that are available online, and they can see how they can incorporate it for themselves and try to get ahead of the competition. And it is true what you mentioned, like people who have more experience, work experience, or subject matter expertise, they can use these AI tools even faster, and companies would probably want to work with them than freshers. So in that scenario, I think it's really important for students right now to understand how to use AI, so that they also gain some experience while they are at college itself in using these tools and trying to build an output out of it.
So they have something to show as a proof of work, right?
Yeah, something as a proof of work. And it's important for them to understand what tools are there, how to understand. And if you look at it that way, the younger generation, they have an edge because people from businesses who have been running for a long time, they may not keep up with all the latest advancements that are happening because they are spending their time in managing their business and trying to do their everyday work. All these new things that are happening pretty fast and so many things are coming up. The younger generation probably has more time to explore those things and probably act as a consultant to all the older generation folks who are running businesses and be that bridge for them to execute. So that way, if you see, it's a good thing. Like if you explore the right topics.
If you expert right now. This is something that I've also learned, like about money and opportunities. There's abundance of both of things. It's just you need to know where to kind of go into. Like there's always money on the table, and like always there's always opportunity on the table. You just need to know to pick from which
Yeah.
table. That's
So
the
I
only thing.
think the right keyword here is awareness. I
Awareness,
often
yeah.
tell it in my content as well. Like
Yeah.
people who have the awareness can really grab those opportunities that are there. That's what I feel.
Okay. But how do open source kind of software make money?
So there are two or three types of business models that these open source companies follow. One
Okay.
thing is they release a software for free, and they have a premium version of it that is paid.
Okay.
So the free version is good enough for most normal use cases.
So they
Probably
go,
some
so they go with the freemium model, right? That's what it's
yeah
called. The
freemium.
technical,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
freemium.
freemium. So for individual small companies or individuals, the free edition is more than enough. But
Yeah.
the premium edition, probably the enterprises, big enterprises will go for it. That's
Yeah.
one way. Another way is like they release a software absolutely for free. They don't make any money. They rely on donations. For example, think of Wikipedia. Wikipedia relies on donations.
Okay.
Even Telegram used to rely on donations. Telegram used to be like Telegram is open source, and it used to rely on donations from the founder. There are many software like that that completely rely on donations.
Okay. And and third is, I guess, ad centric, like the Instagram,
Yeah,
Facebook, they use
and
it.
so what people use is uh, basically similar to content. Like now, a lot of companies create content because it gives them marketing value.
Yeah.
And what some companies can do is they create a open source software. They create a community around it, and then they use that community to sell something else.
Okay.
That's something companies can do. So I'll give an example of in developer in software engineering. This happens a lot. Like there are so many technology frameworks that companies build and make it open source, and indirectly it helps the company. For example, Facebook has this open source framework called React. So React
I've
is
heard of it. Yeah.
so React is used for creating UI, like websites and UI
Okay.
user interface and things like that.
Okay.
It's completely free, open source. Anyone can use it, and people use it freely. But how Facebook benefits from it is like they get people from the community to contribute back to their open source project, and Facebook also gets a brand value out of it. Like it gets a brand value in from developers and all that stuff, and probably they can attract talent to work for them, or they can sell something else, like they can sell some other premium product later. So that way it's useful.
So, Acha, is it like maybe just a naive question, but like, can I consider Instagram as an open source tool or maybe a open source
No.
application? No.
Instagram is not open source. So when we say open source, what we mean is like the complete code for that project is available for free on
Available.
the internet.
Okay. And I can edit
So
it.
yeah, anyone can use it, anyone can edit it, anyone can change and
Okay.
modify it and
Okay.
use for their
Okay.
own personal use.
So,
Personal or commercial use. So there are many different licenses in open source. So general definition is like that. Instagram is closed source because the
okay.
source code, everything is completely with Instagram. No one has access to it.
So, open source is like you provide frameworks and you don't control the outcome of it to some extent. And I can make another app from using that framework, and that becomes, in some sense, that
Yeah.
I can interact with the framework, so it's open source. In that sense, am I correct?
So it's partially correct. So
Okay.
basically, it can be a framework, it can be a software, it can be an app, it can be anything that people can freely and commercially use.
Okay.
So, for example, framework is one example. Another example is like, let's say there is some kind of software tool. Like there are so many software tools. Like, have you heard of this tool called Inkscape?
Sorry, but I haven't.
Okay. So Inkscape is a tool that is similar to Adobe products. Like it
Okay.
is used for creating images, editing images, things like that. Like similar to Adobe Photoshop or Adobe
Okay.
Illustrator. I think it's more similar to Adobe Illustrator.
Okay.
But the difference between Adobe Illustrator and Inkscape is open source. So what that means is like anyone can download that software for free. In Adobe, you have to pay the subscription for Adobe products. But
Yeah.
in Inkscape, you can download it for free and you can do whatever you want with it. And not just that, you can also download the source code of that project and you can add new features, remove things, and do whatever you want. And you can even like add a new plugin or something to it and sell it for yourself, sell it like you have made something. So all that flexibility is there. So that's another example of a finished product that's open source.
So, okay, open source, but not necessarily. My question would be like something like suppose Instagram, like a
Hmm.
closed app, and there are also apps that are free, right? In that
Hmm.
sense, so you use
Yeah.
open source kind of
So
software. Okay.
free does not mean it's open source. Both are two different things.
Okay.
uh, so open source means it should be free and it should also give you access to everything that's inside it, including the
Everything.
code.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. No, I was I was asking you a question and then you said, and I did remember it half the way and then I lost it. Okay. कोई बात नहीं. Maybe I'll refresh later. Point being, अच्छा, just came into mind. Have someone told you this before? I guess yes or no. I don't know. The picture on your LinkedIn is kind of different than you look. How
Yeah,
the way you look.
I get this. I
Okay,
get this
you got
often.
pause. You get this often. Okay.
Yeah. So that is
Yeah.
a very old photograph, like
अच्छा
from
अच्छा.
college days.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I do look quite different now, I guess. I may update it soon, but the reason I didn't update that photo is like it kind of tied to my brand value, like because people
Okay.
uh, identify me from that photo on
हाँ हाँ
LinkedIn. Like
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
so, but
Makes
yeah, when
sense.
they come and see in real life, it's a bit different.
They're like, Akshay, am I meeting the same guy for a second? And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You moved a little left and I know I recognize you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That is
that's a
true.
pretty old photo. So yeah, it's different.
Mm. But it's a good one for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. So let's close it then. Like, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Like, we had like an hour of conversation.
Yeah, we had an hour. So, do you have any concluding questions or anything to wind up? Like, you have planned anything like that?
No, when the conversation comes to an naturally conclusion, I close it there. Like, try to keep it as authentic as I can. Like, I'm talking to someone new and I just start with, or like, I have some structure, like, I record an intro, which is different, like, different from this one. Like, I don't record here, I record separately. So that's one structure. And the conversation usually starts and end in a most authentic manner as I can. This is what it's also, I'm also experimenting with it. Like, this is something I feel good for now. Maybe later on I'll discover something better, so I'll integrate that. So it's in some sense I see it as an experiment.
Yeah, got it.
So thank you, Vivek, for coming to Inexperience. I had
Yeah,
a great
thank you
time.
for inviting me. It was nice talking to you.
So bye. Yeah.